y'all. Welcome to Candid Conversations with Carla. Well, today we have a special guest, Miss Danielle Boone, who is an author, a word playologist, and a coach. Well, hey, Danielle.
Hello, Carla. How are you today?
Um,
Hello, everybody.
hey. So, word playologist. What is that?
It's so funny you asked me that. So I like to play with words. Like, I know that sounds weird, but it's more than writing to me or like reading. I like seeing how I can like not manipulate words, but it's like, hey, you know, how can I craft words so that they work for me, whether it's in my personal life or whether it's like, with a story or something. So I call it wordplay. And ology is basically the study of. So it's like the study of wordplay. I don't want to just do it just to do it because words are very powerful. So I want to make sure that even with my play, that it makes sense and they're purposeful for how I'm like crafting them to express how I'm feeling. So that's what a wordplayologist is. Yes, I made it up, but I'm a wordplayologist. I make up words. That's what I do.
Awesome, awesome. So, since you're a word playologist, what exactly? How do you put that to use?
Wow, very interesting. So I've been writing since I was about 3 or 4 years old. That
Mm-hmm.
was just my way of communicating. I was like, really, I wouldn't say shy, but kind of timid in expressing how I feel. So even with my parents, I would like write my mom a letter to say exactly how I feel because I would get in front of people and I'm like, okay, but I could spend days like writing pages of like this is exactly how I feel. So it wasn't about me not being express how I felt,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like me doing it audibly was like a little intimidating for me. So I would like write down. So as a way of expression, that's how I started. So I started writing like poetry and short stories, and then it just grew from there to. Like my first book when I was like in sixth grade, like a little bit of contest of writing a book. So I did that, and then writing poetry and stuff for my friends in high school, like, hey, that. So it's always been a part of who I am. And then as I got older, I went to school for journalism, and then transferred to like film and television. And
Mm-hmm.
so all writing and words have always been a part of my world. And now as I gotten older, I understand the power in them, not just in expression and writing, but like how words really set the tone for how we live our lives. Like if you think about how God created the earth, he created the earth through words. So words are very powerful. And as I've gotten older and really like honed into what that means, I'm teaching others.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm teaching others what that is. And so wordplay came about probably in like college, maybe is when I started using the wordplay thing. And now I'm teaching others how to play with their words, and it's really crafting them. But I feel like we should have fun in our lives. A lot of times it's just like fun is something on the side after
Mm-hmm.
work and ministry or whatever. But it's like, why don't we enjoy our lives? Because that's all play is, learning how to enjoy your life. So I want to teach people like how to enjoy your life using words crafted to the way where you're creating the world you want to live. You're manifesting the world you want to live in. And that's what wordplay is. And I started a lab teaching people how to do that. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I've attended a couple of those labs, which have been so helpful.
Hmm.
Just even, why I choose the words that I choose,
Hmm.
whether it's in my writing or even just speaking. So absolutely love the labs.
Thank you.
They're very thought provoking. And so, wow. So teaching it in labs.
Yeah.
Um, how does that actually flow into some of the other things that you do? Because, we have a couple of titles here, author, coach. So, how does that tie in to you as like an author?
Oh wow. It's the same thing. I think so. Me being an author actually came about way before the lapse. So
Wow.
years ago, my first book was I was probably talked about my life up until 30. It's called Look, I've been through some things. I got lot to say, and I wrote the book. Like that's literally the title. When I came, it's like, look, I've been through some things, and then like the subtitle is like I got a lot to say, so I wrote some book. And it's mostly poetry. You remember, I'm probably gonna age myself, but Black Voices and
Mm-hmm.
Black Planet. So I met someone on there in a poetry room. And so we would just write poems back and forth, and we became
Wow.
friends on there. And so I started saving the poems, and
Wow.
then I put them together. I said, you know what? We should like write commentary about how we met each other. And so we
Right.
did that, and I put it together, and it became the book. Like, it was our poetry and then our story. Because when I would talk to people and I'd be like, hey, so and so, whatever, and be like, man, how long have you guys known each other? It's like a couple years, but we had never met. It was just in Black Planet, Black Voices. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was very interesting. Don't really promote it that much, but it was a way for me to express my life up until then. So that was when the first, I guess, when I fully became an author, but I still
Mm-hmm.
had embraced it then. And so then there was a period in my life that um, it was a 7 year period of just a lot of loss.
Mm-hmm.
And so that became what has been my next book, which is like, I want to say, my foundational book of where I am in this area of my journey, right, of my life. And so it's called In the Absence of.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about the loss of my parents, the loss of my children, the loss of my marriage, the loss of like several things in my life. But ultimately, it was like all these things caused me to lose a part of me. But what
Mm-hmm.
I've learned through those are the lessons of loss. And
Yes.
so that was what I'm calling like my foundational book
Mm-hmm.
of being an author, like when I fully embraced it. And it's also the one that has impacted people the most, which is the most important thing for me. The most important thing for me is that my words touch others. They
Yes.
impact, positively impact others. If I can create a pathway for people to say, me too, I can get out of this too, I can rise above. That's kind of like, the author piece of it, which
Mm-hmm.
opened the door to all the other things, which is very interesting. So it's kind of intertwined, but that opened the door to it. Yeah.
Awesome. And I had the great opportunity to attend the book signing for In the Absence of.
Wow.
And is there anything out of the book, or maybe a small synopsis of the book, that you would like to
Hmm.
talk about? Or
Yeah, it's like I said, the impact that it had for me. So, um, wow, one part. The biggest thing for me, which is why it's called In the Absence of, it's
mm-hmm.
what I learned, and it's the subtitle for me that has
Mm-hmm.
the most weight. But it's how I found confidence in those quiet spaces of noise. And so, what I mean by that, if anybody has endured any type of loss,
Mm-hmm.
you feel that, especially if it's a person,
Mm-hmm.
there's a part of you that feels like trapped. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody that's around you is, like, oh, are you okay, what can I do? And then for a while it's like just a lot of noise, it's a lot of
Yeah.
things, and you're like, okay, I feel trapped. I'm supposed to
Mm-hmm.
act this way, I'm supposed to get over it, I'm supposed to embrace those people. But a lot of times you're like, I just don't want to people, I don't want to talk, I don't want to deal. So in those moments of all the noise, I found spaces where I was like, okay, God, it's me and you. And in
Wow.
those quiet moments, for me, I was loud. God was
Wow.
quiet, because I was like, look, I don't understand, especially the way some of those things happen. And I'm praying and I'm like, okay, God, why? But when I quieted myself, so
Mm-hmm.
God was quiet, I knew He was there. I quieted myself, and then I could hear Him. And
Wow.
it's like, here's what I want you to see from what you've gone through. It's not even about you necessarily. This came after, once I took the time to stop, pause.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's funny, because the original title was supposed to be post pause. Like, I was
Wow.
stopping, I was pausing, and then here's what happened after that pause. But a friend of mine, we were talking, and he's been through this journey, most of this journey with me. He was the one that actually, like, hey, we were working on a script,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, just stop, because I'm not getting your full creativity. What's going on? And this was after my mom passed. And he said, I'm not getting your full creativity. What's happening here? Maybe you need to just stop and take 30 days and just write. Don't think about structure. Don't think about story. Just write. And so what I did was I did that. I just wrote. And then what I realized is that I had not, even though this was right after my mom passed, I hadn't mourned my father fully, who had passed 7 years before.
Wow.
And in between that, there were other things that I had lost, but I went numb with my dad to take care of my mom. And I was like, okay, I gotta pop back into, let me see, my mom's down, my brothers are down. What do I have to do? I went numb, didn't even know it. I'm just like, action mode. What do I need to do? Make sure everybody else is okay. And when my mom passed 7 years later, it was like, that was my moment of like, I could exhale. And when I did, it was, whoa, I hadn't fully gone through that grieving process with my dad. So when I did that, I took those 30 days and just kind of wrote with, everything that I was feeling. I was spending time with God, like, okay, God, I don't understand. There were questions I had asked throughout those years, but I didn't really give myself space to like hear from him. And so when I did that, I wrote down what I thought was the book. And so my friend, being who he is in my life, was like, that's good. That's a good start. I was like, what do you not mean? This is like a whole book. He's like, you're still holding back. But we went on. So, but I was still open to God, what God was saying. My ear was still open. That's my heart was still open. So for the next couple of years, there were things that I had grown. Even in that short time, I had grown. And so God was leading me to do some other things, that I probably wouldn't have done before. Open myself up, taking steps, taking not little risks, but just taking steps outside of my comfort zone at that point.
Yeah.
And so I went to a retreat, and then I got into a coaching program. Never thought I would, never in my mind was I like, I want to be a coach. That was not a thing. But it was a business coaching program. And I was like, I kept feeling this unction to go ahead and go. Not once did I want a business. That was not in my initial thought process that I would have a business. Not once did I think I would be a coach. And now here I am with both. But that one step led me to someone. And we would have pods. And so we would have to practice coaching. I was just getting in there so I could learn business a little bit. I was like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to learn business a little bit more. A little bit more about the business part, which my partner, that was his thing. My friend, he was the business person. I was the creative. But God pushed me to learn more about business, which is what I thought. I met someone who, once I started to share my story in the pods, she said, you should write a book about this. Now, this is probably about 5-6 years, about 5 or 6 years after I took that 30 days and wrote what I thought was the book. And she told me about this program, got into the program, and that's when the rest of it came.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, God, well, whatever. I was still nervous because I'm very private. I share when it's necessary. When God tells me, okay, this person needs to hear, I'll feel this like, okay, now I need to share my experience with someone. One, because I'm just private. I don't want people to know my business. Second, it was a point where I was still dealing with like people pleasing and, rejection. And I'm like, I don't want people to think or see all the wounds. All the mistakes. And I was like, I don't want people to think, what are people going to think about me? Because they see me as this nice little person. And then if I air out my dirty laundry, so to speak, then they may think different of me. And when I just let go, when I just surrendered and said, you know what, I'm just going to let go. Somebody told me this. It's like, your story isn't even about you.
Right.
The book literally is about me, but God said it's not about you.
Right.
It's about how it's going to impact other people. And I was like, okay, just took the leap. And the response of how people were like, wow. First, I never knew you were going through all this because how are you still smiling? Right? Even now, people are like, people in my family are like, when did this happen? How do we not know that this happened? Because you're always smiling. You're always making sure everybody else is okay. But thank you for being vulnerable and saying and opening your heart up, because now I feel that my story may work. Or I see pieces of, I don't have to always be okay. Or I look at a problem or something I've gone through to say, oh, let me see, there could be a lesson in this. I hurt. But once I stop, there's a lesson in this. So, long way to say, it's not about me. I focus on what God told me to do. when I had the launch, even the launch itself was a disruption. It was supposed to go one way.
Mm-hmm.
And God was like, okay, I need you to listen to me. And it was perfect. I was able to bring my brother down.
Wow.
And he emceed for me. And he's a part of the book. He has his own testimony. I'll, let him, when he has the space to do it, share that. But it opened the door for him 2 years later for the next part of his journey. And so that was a big piece for me that even now I'm seeing.
Now, when you say down from where?
Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
Yes.
So Chicago.
Yes, I'm from Chicago.
Yeah. So you were born and raised in Chicago?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. West Side. No, I mean I love my city. And I've lived in 5 states. Don't judge me. In Texas now, because God has me here. Dallas was not my thing either. That was not my choice. That was God's choice. But I'm grateful I'm here because I got to get to meet people like you. And then just other things that God is like preparing me for.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm a couple years ago, I was like, okay, God, I'm just gonna hear and obey.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't always make it, y'all. Sometimes I was like, no, God, I'm gonna try to do my own thing. But each time I was like, let me get back to hear and obey. And because I did that, so many opportunities, so many doors have opened. And not only that, when I was going through things, because I just stopped and said, let me hear and obey, then navigating those spaces were a little bit easier. Because everything's not always, like roses and rainbows. Life happens.
Yes.
So even being able to hear and obey God when life happens, I was able to navigate it a little bit easier and better, which is actually, kind of what I teach people in the coaching. So
talk about divine alignment. Wow. So coaching, what type of coaching do you do?
So I am a restorative coach. What that means is, clearly, as I've talked for the last few minutes about the losses, some of the losses, didn't even touch on some of the others, but that experience, what I've learned through and how I've learned to navigate loss and get back up, God said, you can show other people how to do that. I was like, I don't want to people like that, God. Can I just write it in the book? That's enough. It's like, no. That's just the start. That's the catalyst. Now you need to get in front of people. I was like, no, that was my mama. My mama liked people. She talked to people. She never knew a stranger. God was like, nope, you're going to embrace this mantle. Nope. No, God, I'm just playing. Didn't I just say I was going to hear and obey? This one of them times I didn't do it, y'all. I was like, I don't know. I fought it a little bit. But God has a way of, I don't want to say making you, but when your heart is really hungry,
yes,
even when you're resistant, he'll be like, all right, it's just going to take a little longer. So there's an opportunity that kind of pushed me into, I got suckered into doing this, but it opened the door for so much more because I was like, all right, fine. And now 2 years later, I'm finally like, all right, I'm gonna put this little mantle on that my mom gave me. But it's restorative coaching. And it's not just about the loss of people. If you've lost someone, it's if you've lost your job, or if you've lost a relationship.
Wow.
Because in any type of loss, you lose property. You know what I'm saying? Like any type of loss, there's a piece of you that kind of you think is lost, but it's really buried under the pain. And so God is just opened the door for me to create what I call the 5A framework. It's like 5 A's of awareness and choice. Because once you're aware of what a situation is, then you realize you do have a choice in how you respond. And there's a couple other things like self-identity, like examination. Where are you in the season of your life? And depending on where you are in your journey, your seasons are different. Just like every year we have 3 or 4 seasons, depending on where you live. There are seasons of your life. So that's what the coaching is. It takes, we help guide you through those seasons and give you tools so that each time something comes up, because losses happen all the time and you never get over stuff totally. You learn how to get through. And then when the triggers come, you learn how to get through and you learn how to navigate it a little bit quicker. And the next time a trigger comes up, you learn how to navigate it a little bit faster and a little bit easier. And so that's what it's about. It's like how to rise above your circumstances, see a different perspective, and then move ahead, fly, and then guide others to do it. So that's the whole point of the restorative coaching.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yes.
So, is there anything that you are currently working on outside of being an author, outside of being a coach? Is there anything that you would like our audience to know?
Well, I am currently, so we mentioned it a little bit earlier. I started off like being a co-lead in a writer's lab. So working specifically for those who are like writing stories and plays and books and things like that. That opened the door for me, like I said, to talk about words
Mm-hmm.
and come back around, a year or so later, and I'm starting a wordplay lab. And like I said, what that is, people initially thought it was like, oh, you got to work with creatives, helping them like craft their words for stories.
Mm-hmm.
It is bigger than that. It's for
Wow.
anyone who's learning to, like I said earlier, make their words work for them. And
Right.
so I started this wordplay lab this month. Actually, we've had 2 sessions. I'm excited about it. The feedback has been great. People, one of the core pieces of the wordplay lab is what I call the art of the reframe,
Mm-hmm.
and it's reframing your words. So, there's a lot of talk about positive speaking or
Mm-hmm.
affirmations and things like that. And I believe that's one part.
Mm-hmm.
So, be able to say, hey, I am this, so you can start believing and getting rid of limiting beliefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that people tend to have a challenge with is what I'm actually going through and feeling right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do I ignore that when
Mm-hmm.
I talk about, positive speaking or affirmations?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things is like, how can I reframe that? Say, acknowledge how I'm feeling, but not necessarily own it or make it mine. So part of the art of the reframe is like, how can I say this thing that I'm experiencing in a more positive way as I'm moving towards the life that I want to live? So I'm excited about that. We meet twice a month right now, and it's open to the public currently.
Okay.
Soon it will be a paid program. I will say that because it's going to be more than just the live sessions that we have. There's so many more tools that I want to feed into people, and I'm just excited because the feedback that I've been given thus far has been great, and it's encouraging me that it's needed.
I really like that reframe
Yeah.
because there is power in what we speak, right? Life and
Yeah.
death is in the tongue,
Yeah.
and so we create
Right.
worlds, our
Yeah.
world, as we begin to speak things.
Yeah.
And so instead of saying I'm broke, we don't want to be claiming that,
Right.
right? You might want to use financially challenged or
Yes.
something else
Yeah.
outside of speaking death
Yes.
over a situation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, I know that I'm one of the writers who get to actually benefit from your great teachings.
Mhm.
And, we had Cheryl last week, and then now we have you.
Yes.
It's such an honor.
Thank you.
As I've stated before, people literally pay big money to even attend like the labs that we actually have within our ministry. So, what else is kicking?
I'm just open. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm excited. I
Mm-hmm.
say nervite. I actually stole it from
Mm-hmm.
from one of the people that was the book program that I was in, but I love it because it's
Mm-hmm.
like it allows you to say I'm a little nervous,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm also excited. And
Yeah.
so claiming both of those, not claiming the excitement, acknowledging the nervous.
Yes.
And so that's what it kind of gives wordplay, right?
Right.
But I am it's interesting because you
Mm-hmm.
caught me in the middle of a disruption. I'm gonna be
Wow.
honest.
Wow.
It's like, oh, this week, the
Mm-hmm.
week one. If I
Yeah.
had to say, if disruption follows intention was a person, I'd be it. Today I'm it, y'all. But you know what? I said I'm gonna push through anyway
Yes.
because I
Yes.
choose to stand fast on the promise of God.
Yes.
God said I have overcome.
Yes.
So I'm gonna choose that. Even in the midst of the
Mm-hmm.
disruption, you're here to impart light.
Right.
Okay, I'm a representation of God.
Yeah.
So I'm impart light. In the middle of my darkness, I have the light in me. So
That's
it's
right.
like, okay, God, I'm gonna keep pushing. Now, granted, let me tell y'all, Most people be like, oh, I'm gonna be honest. It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
You've probably heard that from some people, and I'm telling you to embrace it. I tell my clients, and hey, it's okay. I got this from mom. It's okay to have your moment. Just don't stay in it.
Don't stay
You
in it.
have moments.
That's right.
You have those moments of I want to cry. I tell my friends, like, hey, I'm here. Call me if you want me to listen, if you just need to vent, if you need to scream, if you need to punch something. Just don't punch me or another person. But we got pillows. Like, I mean, but it's necessary. And I really want to say that to you, your audience, because there may be somebody out there that's like, well, I'm not supposed to be, if I'm a person of faith, then if I'm not no, you hold on to that word.
Yeah, that part.
But I may get in trouble for this. But Jesus turned over a table because he was upset at what they was doing in his father's house.
Well, the Bible does say, be angry and sin not.
Exactly. So it's okay to embrace that. But don't stay in it because you're bigger than that. Hold on to your promise. God will guide you. Holy Spirit is here to guide, lead, guide, and comfort us. Right?
Yes.
So just take those moments and have a lifeline. Have a lifeline. I'm so grateful for the community that God has given me. I'm so grateful for Carla being one of these people, because I would reach out to her and be like, I'm not okay, and she'll be like, you know what, sis? Okay, here's what I'm gonna tell you. Or I'll just be like, I'm breathing. She'll be like, all right, well, God said, don't forget this. I have a friend, the same friend who pushes me, my business partner. He's like, I'll be like, tell me something good. You know what I'm saying? So whatever it is that you have, whoever it is, it may not be a friend. It may not be a family member, because sometimes the people you expect it to be not be the people. So just ask God, I need a lifeline. Who is this person? Because I don't know what you're going through.
Right.
We don't know what you're going through, but God does. And he will supply. When it says God supply all your needs, that's not just talking about things.
Right.
Resources are also people.
Yes.
So I would just encourage, hey, whatever it is, what you're in, or what your absence is, or what you need, God definitely has it. And just hold on, because you are the restored. Right?
Yes.
You are the abundant.
Yes.
You are the healed.
Yes.
You are, the joyful. You are the peaceful. We have grace, and learning to embrace that and navigate those spaces when we don't feel it.
Yes.
We faith it.
Yeah.
We faith it and we don't feel it. It's like, hey, let's do this. So if I can, I would invite you all, like, check out the site, check out the lab. We love to have you if it's on your heart to join, because I believe everybody has a story. I believe your words have power, and that power works whether you're aware of it or not. So you might as well get tools and learn how to make those words work for you. So yeah, it's just an honor to be here on your podcast.
Well, thank you for the transparency. I love it, because a lot of times people get it misconstrued that just because we're Christians or we were believers that, we don't have shortcomings or even just struggles.
Yeah.
And so it's good when we can admit some of the things that we have to navigate, even with Christ on our side, right?
Yeah.
So I heard you say website. Yes. So how can we contact you?
Well, social media, of course, at hummybird.com. That's HUMMIBIRD, no NG. On Facebook and Instagram. Also at resurgencexp.com. And I'm sure Carla put that in the link.
Yes.
Just check me out. You can get the book on Amazon as well as the website. So I'm just excited. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Reach out and say, I heard you. I want more information. Or even if you just want to say hi or need some encouragement, just check me out, and I encourage you as you encourage Carla to encourage me, and then we'll just do it. And then, sphere of influence, each one reach one, that's what we do.
Yes. Well, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the podcast. I'm so excited about everything that you're doing and that you will do.
Thank you so much, Carla. And this is my girl. I love her. So
Oh no, I
it was
love
an
you,
honor.
Danielle.
Oh, it was such an honor to be here. Thank you so much, Carla.
Definitely. So, well, you guys, it was so great to see Miss Danielle. We will see you next Tuesday at 7:30. All right.